Welcome to Morganable, where we serve you with authentic news, stories, documentaries, updates, and Martin-style insights on our society and the larger world, and more importantly, about places that fall under the radar of the mainstream media machinery. We invite you to embark on this exciting journey of enlightenment with us. Morganable, your vehicle of enlightenment. In a significant diplomatic initiative, representatives from the United States, Ukraine, and Russia convened in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia on March 25 to address critical aspects of the ongoing conflict. These talks aimed to foster understanding, mitigate tensions, and explore pathways to a peaceful resolution. The discussion centered on issues of security, humanitarian concerns, and economic stability in the region. Over 3 days of discussions in Saudi Arabia, the United States held separate meetings with Ukrainian and Russian delegations, resulting in agreements aimed at easing tensions in the ongoing war. The agreements focused on barring the use of force in the Black Sea and halting attacks on energy facilities in both Ukraine and Russia. While these steps are promising, significant obstacles remain on the path to achieving lasting peace. The United States released 2 official White House statements to outline the outcomes of the talks. One statement summarized the March 23 and 25 discussions with Ukraine, while the other addressed the March 24 meeting with Russia. Shortly after the statements were issued, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov remarked that the specifics of the U.S.-Russia talks would definitely not be publicized, reflecting the confidential nature of the discussions. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy stated that he would urge United States President Donald Trump to impose sanctions on Russia and provide Ukraine with weapons if Russia violates the Black Sea deal. The White House, in a statement, confirmed that each country had agreed to guarantee safe navigation, refrain from the use of force, and prevent commercial vessels from being used for military purposes in the Black Sea. Commenting on the development, Zelenskyy asserted that Ukraine would uphold its part of the agreement and would push for further sanctions if Russia failed to do the same. But the White House statement emphasized the United States' commitment to continue its role as a mediator to help both sides negotiate for peace. The war, now in its 4th year, has been ongoing since Russia's full-scale invasion in Ukraine in February 2022. These agreements mark a significant achievement in U.S. President Donald Trump's peace efforts since he assumed office 2 months ago. However, key questions remain unresolved. It is unclear whether Russia is prepared to agree to a full ceasefire or to a peace deal that respects Ukraine's sovereignty without attempting to assert control over the country. These uncertainties underscore the complex and challenging nature of the conflicts and the diplomatic efforts required to bring about a resolution. The United States and Russia focus on achieving a maritime ceasefire in the Black Sea during this round of talks. The goal is particularly crucial as it would allow ships to navigate freely in this important waterway, reduce the tensions, and acting as a stepping stone toward the larger truce. The Black Sea is vital for both Ukraine and Russia as it borders their coastlines and plays a critical role in exporting Ukrainian and Russian grain. Additionally, Ukraine's Crimean Peninsula, which Russia invaded and occupied in 2014, extends into the Black Sea, making it a region of strategic importance. Before the U.S.-Russia talks began, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov reiterated Russia's long-standing claim that promises made to Moscow under the Black Sea Grain Initiative of 2022 had not been fulfilled. These agreements, intended to ensure safe shipping routes, collapsed the following year when Russia withdrew amid amid accusations from both sides. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov echoed this compliance on March 25, accusing opponents of suppressing Russian grain and fertilizer exports. The White House responded by offering significant initiatives to Russia, and U.S. pledged to help Russia regain access to global markets for agricultural and fertilizer exports. Specific measures included lower maritime insurance costs, improving access to ports, and facilitating payment systems for trade. Although these provisions aim to address Russia's concerns, their implementation is expected to involve complex negotiations. The Kremlin outlined conditions for implementing the ceasefire. It stated that halting the use of force on the Black Sea would only take effect after several requirements were met. These included lifting sanctions on Russian financial institutions such as Rosneft, Russia's state-owned agricultural lender, and reconnecting these entities to the SWIFT payment system. However, these actions may depend on approval from the European Union, creating potential hurdles. On the Ukraine side, Defense Minister Rustem Umerov participated in the U.S.-Ukraine talks and emphasized the need for further technical consultations to finalize the agreements. He highlighted the importance of establishing clear mechanisms for implementation, monitoring, and control. Umerov also asserted Ukraine's right to defend itself if Russian warships moved into the western Black Sea. No direct agreement was reached between Ukraine and Russia during these talks, which raises the likelihood of differing interpretations of the terms. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy criticized aspects of the U.S.-Russia agreement, particularly provisions that could ease trade restrictions for Russia. Zelenskyy expressed concern that such measures could weaken sanctions and be seen as a concession to Moscow. His criticism highlights the challenges of aligning the interests of all parties involved while maintaining a unified stance against aggression. While the maritime ceasefire holds the potential to ease tensions, the lack of clarity in the agreements and the foreign expectation among the parties pose significant challenges. These complexities underline the difficulty of moving toward a comprehensive and lasting resolution to the conflict. The talk in Riyadh followed U.S. President Donald Trump's proposal for a comprehensive 30-day ceasefire, which aimed to stop all hostilities on the land, at sea, and in the air. Ukraine accepted the proposal on March 11, but Russia resisted. However, after separate conversations between Trump, Russian President Vladimir Putin, and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, Kyiv and Moscow reached a preliminary agreement on a narrow truce. Differences in interpretation soon emerged following a March 18 phone call between Trump and Putin. The White House and Kremlin issued separate statements that revealed distinct perspectives on the agreement. The U.S. statement described the initial step towards peace as an agreement on an energy and infrastructure ceasefire, while the Kremlin focused solely on halting attacks on energy infrastructure. According to the Kremlin, Putin welcomed the initiative and immediately instructed the Russian military to comply. Despite this, Ukraine accused Russia of continuing its assaults on critical infrastructure, particularly energy facilities, suggesting that actions on the ground did not align with agreement's intent. On March 25, the White House issued a statement summarizing the outcomes of the talks. It did not explicitly refer to an infrastructure ceasefire, but mentioned that the countries had agreed to develop measures for banning strikes on energy facilities in both Russia and Ukraine. This phrasing left room for interpretation and pointed to the complexity of implementing such agreements in practice. These differing interpretations and accusations indicate the fragility of truce and the significant challenges involved in achieving a comprehensive and lasting ceasefire. The situation underscores the need for clear communication, consistent implementation, and mechanisms to monitor adherence to agreements. One of the most pressuring issues is in any ceasefire for peace agreement between Ukraine and Russia is the question of territory, specifically how much of Ukraine Russia will control and under what conditions. This topic was reportedly addressed during the Riyadh negotiations. On March 24, U.S. President Donald Trump, speaking to newsmen in Washington, confirmed that territorial matters were part of the discussions. He stated that the talks were focusing on lines of demarcation, indicating that the negotiations were exploring boundaries and territorial control. Currently, Russia occupies approximately one-fifth of Ukraine's territory. This includes all Crimea, nearly all of the Luhansk region, and parts of the Donetsk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson regions. However, Russia does not control the capitals of Zaporizhia and Kherson. In September 2022, Russian President Vladimir Putin declared these regions to be part of Russia in their entirety, including areas still under Ukrainian control, a claim widely regarded as baseless and illegitimate. Russia has demanded that Ukraine withdraw its forces from these regions and recognize them as Russian territory. Zelenskyy has acknowledged that reclaiming all occupied areas may not be feasible in the near term. Despite this, Ukraine remains steadfast in its refusal to accept any formal or permanent changes to its borders. Interestingly, the White House statement following the Riyadh talk did not address the issue of territory. This omission leaves questions about how territorial disputes will be resolved and whether they will be included in further agreements. For now, the territorial question remains a major obstacle to achieving a comprehensive and lasting peace. On March 25, Ukrainian President shared with newsmen that the United States of a mineral resources deal. This agreement, which has been under negotiation for months, focuses on the joint development of Ukraine's rare minerals and other natural resources. As officials have emphasized that this deal could bolster Ukraine's security and play a significant role in addressing the ongoing conflict with Russia. The signing of the deal was initially anticipated during Zelensky's visit to the White House on February 28. However, that meeting took an unexpected turn, and the intention after U.S. President Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance criticized Zelenskyy in a rare and contentious exchange before reporters in the Oval Office. Despite this rocky moment, relations between the two leaders have since improved. The proposed mineral resources agreement could symbolize renewed solidarity between Ukraine and the United States as Trump continues his diplomatic efforts to end the war. If finalized, the deal would not only strengthen Ukraine's economic and security position, but also deepen the partnership between the two nations in the face of ongoing challenges. U.S. President Donald Trump revealed that Russian president responded to the proposal for a 30-day ceasefire with cautious approval, stating that he agrees for it, but there are degrees. The so-called nuances included demands that Ukraine's allies stop supplying weapons and that Kyiv halt the mobilization of soldiers during the truce. Notably, Russia did not propose similar restrictions on its own activities, raising concerns about the fairness and feasible of such terms. Ukraine has accused Russia of using these negotiations as a stalling tactic, pretending to seek peace while continuing its efforts to achieve strategic goals. Russia may be deliberately prolonging the process to gain advantages both diplomatically and militarily. Or what do you think? Sam Green, a professor at the King's Russia Institute and director of Democratic Resilience at the Center for European Policy Analysis, argued that Russia's approach has been cost-free so far. He suggested that by moving slowly, Russia could extract concessions from the United United States and Europe simply to keep negotiations ongoing. Green also highlighted the fundamental difference in objectives between Trump and Putin. Trump's primary goal is to bring an end to the war, while Putin seeks an outcome that secures Russia's dominance over Ukraine. According to Green, Russia appears willing to be flexible in how it achieves its dominance, as long as it maintains control and influence over Ukraine. This dynamics underscores the complexities of the negotiations and the challenges of aligning the interests of all parties involved. While the ceasefire proposal represents a step toward de-escalation, the differing goals and strategies of the key players make path to peace uncertain and fraught with obstacles.
Thanks for watching us today and for joining us on our journey of enlightenment. Morganable, your vehicle of enlightenment.